Alright guys, welcome back to the table. This will be a brief overview, intro, setting the table for the Sainte scenario, and this is actually take 3. Let's hope this is the final take. We'll start with the farmhouse. And the farmhouse is a 2-scale, coinciding with the scale of the figures. But there's a slight problem, and there's a workaround, and I'll get to that. But these figures aren't 1-to-1, right? The farmhouse is, if that makes sense. So what we actually have here is the footprint of this thing is a little too big. Actually, it's a lot too big. So for this scenario, I'll be conforming to hexes. That should actually be 1 hex, and the orchard should be 1 hex. In fact, that is how we're going to treat it. So think of a magnifying glass over this. It's enlarged it. But in actuality, that's really just 1 hex. So a little bit of a workaround there. Otherwise, everything conforms to the scenario that I'll be using. That scenario is included in these rules I've talked about off and on throughout the history of this channel. And it looks a little something like this, with the French at the bottom, the Anglo-Allies at the top. Let's see. Let's start with breaking down what units are what, and I've actually done that for you this time. So all the way to the far left here is General Dubois with his 1st and 4th Cuirassiers. And then we have these guys here. Who are these guys? That is Unit, I need this, Unit 6. Unit 6 is the 13th Light. And it's 13th Light with General Doncelot, and then this would be the 17th, 19th, and 51st Line. That is Unit 2, yes? Unit 3, I'm sorry, yes. And then we come to the French center. We have Unit 16, which is 1st Corps Artillery. Of course, General d'Erlon. French right, beefed up pretty good. We've got 2nd Division Artillery here. And Unit 2 and Unit 5. Unit 2, yes, Unit 2 here with General Queue de Passage. And that consists of the 54th, 55th, 28th, and 105th Line. And then next to them is the Unit 5, commanded by General Marcongnet. And that consists of the 92nd and 93rd Line. That brings us to the British. And let's start with the British left. I'll walk over there. Or maybe I can point from here. Unit 28, that's commanded, so to the left of the farmhouse here, right there, that is commanded by Lieutenant Klenk, and that is the Lüneburgs over there, Lüneburg Lights. So there's that. And then off camera is a small cavalry unit right there behind the farmhouse. That's going to be, what is that going to be? That's going to be Unit 31, is the 12th. Commanded by Major General Vandeleur, but that is the 12th Prince of Wales Light Dragoons, just off camera there behind, right behind the building there. Nobody in the orchard we're acting as if they have already pulled back into the farmhouse, so nobody there currently. And then in the farmhouse proper is going to be Major Bering with his 2nd Light. And then the sand pit right here is the 95th Rifles. And what else do we have? What's that artillery back there? Unit 37 is right there is the 5th Division Artillery. And then these guys here consist of, that's Unit 22. This is the 28th, 32nd, and 79th Foot, commanded by General Kempt. And then on the Anglo-Allied left, we have this unit here. Who is that? That is Unit 21, and Unit 21 is the General Pack's 1st 42nd, 44th, and 92nd Foot. Oh, we also have Wellington right there. And then another artillery unit, that's going to be 39, which is the 3rd Division Artillery. And then one more cavalry unit right there, and that is, who is that? 35 is the Scots Greys Dragoons, commanded by Ponsonby. So that's the units. I'll go ahead and break down the history and background of this scenario. So for almost 2 hours, the French Grand Battery, comprising more than 70 cannon, hammered the center of the Allied deployment while Hougoumont was repeatedly attacked by Jerome's division. Finally, the moment to make the main attack with infantry and to break through the British lines had come. The French guns were silent, and with the cry, "Vive l'Empereur!" the French First Corps advanced towards the hills occupied by the enemy. The scenario reconstructs the French attack that was supposed to break through the left of the Anglo-Allied deployment and cause its army to collapse. After some initial success, the British infantry line held its positions, and a timely charge by the British cavalry sent the infantry of First Corps back in tremendous disorder to the rear. So again, key features, we do have the sand pit and the farmhouse. We also have objectives. We have 3 of them. We have one here, that's an objective hex. One here right behind the sand pit, and then of course the giant hex, which is the farmhouse, or objectives. And to win, need to knock out Wellington, that's an instant victory, or by the end of the scenario, which consists of 9 turns, whoever has the majority, 2 of the 3 victory objectives is the winner. We've got a few special rules, mandatory orders, which I'll skip that. La Haye itself, the 2 hexes comprising the farm are impassable for artillery and cavalry. Cavalry may not attack in melee or charge against these hexes. Infantry may attack these 2 hexes in melee only if in column or open order. Farm hex gives a -3 protection modifier against both fire and melee. The orchard hex for the walled sides offers a protection versus fire and melee of 1. In both hexes, it is mandatory for infantry to adopt an open order formation. The unit inside the farm hex that suffers a retreat result in combat may choose to remain inside the farm, but to do so, the unit must lose an additional figure. Inside the La Sainte, and we can translate figure into stand for these purposes. Inside the farmhouse, the player must place a skirmisher stand taken from the rest of the unit deployed inside the farm. The skirmisher may not voluntarily leave the orchard, and if forced to do so, must fall back to its parent unit. If the parent unit is not adjacent at the moment of retreat, the skirmisher is instead eliminated from play. And then they talk about the sand pit is impassable for artillery and cavalry. Cavalry, in fact, may not attack in melee or charge inside the sand pit. Infantry in the sand pit must adopt an open order formation, and we do have a single rifle stand deployed there. This stand acts with the same initiative as Unit Group 3 inside the farm. May not voluntarily leave the sand pit, and if forced to do so, is eliminated instead. Then there's optional rules. They state the British rifles optional rules are required, naturally, because we have the rifles. Also, they suggest we use the optional rules for skirmishers and artillery ammunition, as I have here. So, for instance, you'll notice this stack right here is artillery ammunition. So all 4, for both sides, all 4 artillery units will have a finite amount of ammunition, which I like. And then also skirmishers, which I have. This will be the first time for me using skirmishers. I don't know if you can tell from this camera angle, but we've got here, and here we have French skirmishers deployed. You can't see that. So these 4 units here have skirmishers deployed, and then these 2 units have skirmishers deployed, as do these 2 units. And then for the British, we've got, you can see the green jackets in the front, a couple of units here, a couple here, and then quite a significant amount of skirmishers deployed there. That'll be a first time for me. I haven't messed with skirmishers. I've complained in the past about skirmishers kind of canceling each other out. What's the point? But we'll see how it goes. And then anything else, we will be using, as mentioned, not just the scenario from this, but the bona fide rules. Now, I know I've probably hipped you guys to a couple of things here late, past month or so, and they worked out great. But for purposes of this scenario, in order to run it correctly and fairly, I think I need to adhere to the rules provided. So that's what we'll do. Again, this is 9 turns, and looks pretty good. Don't know that I'll be needing to tweak or do anything else. Not exactly sure yet when we will kick this off, and don't know that it will be live. I think possibly the opening round, definitely 1 or 2 of the later turns will be filmed and posted such that they won't be live. I'll try and do 1 or 2 live turns, and in doing so, give you guys heads up when they'll be so you can plan ahead accordingly. And I'm going to take my time with this. This is not going to be a quick run through junk food type thing. I'm going to take my time and do this right and crunch numbers and all that good stuff. And we'll do my best to narrate what's going on as it happens. So I think that's it. Going to be a good one. You guys let me know what you think. Comments, questions, suggestions, as usual. Let me know. We'll talk soon.